In this video, we'll see how we can use Airtable through the Airpower app sync to add new draft orders to our Shopify store. To start, we need to add a new table in our Airtable to store our draft orders. The data structure for draft orders is very similar to that of orders. A lot of the fields are the same, and draft orders are inherently linked to order line items. In this particular base, our line items table links line items to both the order and the draft order tables. Now, for every order or draft order, you need a series of line items and a customer. For draft orders, given that we'll be mostly entering those from Airtable, Airpower provides a number of shortcuts to generate the line items and the customer without creating rows in a separate table and then having to link the two tables together. Let's see what we mean. In this particular table, we have a customer column and a customer email column. The customer email column will later map to the customer email data field in Shopify. What's important here is that if we are creating a draft order for an existing customer, we can just link that new row, that new draft order row that we are creating, to the customer row in their customers table. Alternatively, if this is a new customer, we can simply enter the customer email in the customer email column table. In this case, Airpower will see that email, it will search Shopify for an existing customer with that email, and if it finds one, it will use that customer. And if it does not find a customer, it will create one. The second important area is how we enter line items. Again, instead of creating new line item rows and then linking them to the draft order row that you're creating, Airpower gives you a shortcut. Airpower allows you to create as many pairs of item columns as you need for your draft order entry. Each pair of item columns contains a column linking to your variance column and a number column representing the quantity of the item you'd like to associate with the order. In this particular case, we have two pairs of such columns. We have item 1 and item 1 quantity. We have item 2 and item 2 quantity. Each of the item columns is linked to the variance table without allowing the linkage to multiple records. So now let's see how we can use this structure to add a new draft order. First, we'll create a new row. In this case, we only have the customer email and don't want to actually create the customer ahead of time, so we'll just enter the email here and Airpower will handle that for us. Next, we specify the items and their quantity that we'd like to include in this draft order. Since our columns are linked to our variance table, we can simply use Airtable's picking functionality to find the variance we'd like to include in this order. For each item, we need to specify the quantity of the item we want to order. Now we have the minimum amount of information we need in order to set up our sync. Next, let's configure Airpower to be aware of our structure so that it may create the draft orders successfully. We're going to open our Airpower app interface and we are going to open an Airtable to Shopify sync profile. Once here, we go to our data mapping tab and we find the draft orders section. Here, we've specified that our draft orders will come from the draft orders table, and we've set the customer email field to map to our customer email column. As mentioned, in this case, we're mapping the customer email column as text, and Airpower will use this information to either create or find an existing customer to associate with this order. Next, in the mapping variant entry columns section, we need to create as many sections as necessary for the number of items we want to specify from Airtable. We can add as many as we like, and in each case we need to populate the column name of the column containing the first item that links to our variance table, and the column containing the corresponding quantity of that item. If we want to, we can also add an optional column to this combination that would allow us to specify a discount as either a dollar amount or a percentage based. But this is optional, and in this case we're not going to set that up. Now that our configuration is ready, we're going to save it and run an Airtable to Shopify sync to see our new draft order. Now our Airtable to Shopify sync is running, and we'll just wait for it to complete before checking on our results. Now that our Airtable to Shopify sync has finished, we can open our draft orders and see the new draft order we've just created. Here we can see the new entry for the new draft order. If we open it up, we can see that a customer has been created with the email address we provided, and that we have two items, the items we selected, with the associated quantities. The total price for the order is pulled in automatically based on the quantities in question and the prices of the two variants. If we go back to our Airtable, we can see that the new draft order we just created has been given a Shopify ID. The line items have automatically synced from Shopify to Airtable, and that we have a link to a new customer order that has also synced down from Shopify to Airtable. If we go to our order line items table, we can see the line items for the new order. And if we go to our customers table, we can see the entry for the new customer that we just created and its Shopify ID. From here on, any modifications in Shopify or in Airtable to this draft order will be synced to the other location. As you might remember the item pair columns, if we were to update the quantity in each of these item columns or the variant in question, and we run an Airtable to Shopify sync, that information will be updated in Shopify. If you're looking for a good place to start when thinking about entering draft orders or wholesale orders in Shopify from Airtable, we recommend starting with our Shopify wholesale draft order form template that we have made available in the Airtable universe. The template has all the core tables that you need, and a wholesale orders table that is pre-set up with core order information and item columns. The advantage of this template, beyond the fact that it's pre-set up, is that it comes loaded with a form view. A form view for the draft orders table can be quite useful. If, for example, you want to allow your customers to place their own wholesale orders, you can embed an Airtable form into any website, and users on that website can enter data into your Airtable but cannot see the data that is already there. This makes this a perfect tool to allow your customers to automatically enter their own wholesale orders, where they can specify the quantity and select an item from your existing variants in Shopify. After this information has been entered, an Airtable to Shopify sync will sync that information up to Shopify. This has been a quick tutorial to show you how you can enter draft orders from Airtable to Shopify. If you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to contact us.